What is up? GoodMicWork back at you with episode 316. A lot of people wanted me to do something Stone Cold Steve Austin related, but I didn't really have time to do anything like that, so some glass shattering to open up the video was about the best I can do. We're here to talk about the post-Fastlane Monday Night Raw. It was a pretty solid show, and we really got a good idea now of what's going to be going on at WrestleMania. The card is shaping up pretty nicely, the feedback has been really good, and the show was exciting and filled with lots of surprises, and I'm glad that I predicted that in my video last night. I said that part of the reason I think that Fastlane sucks so bad is the WWE is already looking ahead to this Monday Night Raw and WrestleMania. So without any further screwing around, let's get right into this Monday Night Raw. Now, the opening segment was going to be the big reveal of who was going to win this Vincent J. McMahon Legacy of Excellence Award. We had a feeling, the way the promos were kind of set up and the way they were talking about it, that this was kind of going to be a kayfabe type of thing, probably not a legit award. A lot of us had suspicions that it would turn out to be a McMahon family member or a big letdown or something like that. And the moment that Vince McMahon said Stephanie McMahon, you know, in a way you were a little bit excited because you knew somebody was going to be crashing that party. That Shane is one of the names that I tweeted out before this happened. I was like, maybe he could be the guy to crash this party. Maybe Ronda Rousey, maybe The Rock. Who knows? All we know is somebody's got to come out there because the fans are going to completely shit on this ridiculous love fest between Vince McMahon and Stephanie McMahon. And sure enough, here comes the money hits. The fans go nuts. I mean, he got a bigger pop than anybody currently on the WWE roster has gotten in I don't know how long. The fans went completely ballistic for him, and I was actually half surprised to see that. Like, I'm happy to see Shane McMahon. I was always a big fan of his. But still, to bring him back and to put him in a high-profile match at WrestleMania, I wasn't sure if the fans would accept something like that, but they really seem to. People seem to be into this idea. Now, it completely defies all logic. A lot of people are willing to look past that because the match is probably going to be pretty epic. But still, you have to wonder what went into the thought process of going about it this way, setting up the match in this way. Shane McMahon interrupts the award ceremony to Stephanie and reveals that years ago when he left the WWE, that he and his dad had made some sort of an agreement where he can go off and do other things, but as Shane put it, would not lose his place in line. So really, if anybody's going to be the heir to the throne, it's going to be him. And he tells Vince McMahon and Stephanie that he thinks their product is shit and has suffered under this McMahon and Triple H regime. And Stephanie's freaking out because of the bombshell that her brother has dropped. And Vince admits that a lot of what Shane is saying is true. And they get Stephanie out of the ring, and then Shane and Vince have a discussion. And Shane wants to know, or Vince wants to know, what Shane wants. What's it going to take to get him out of the WWE forever? And Shane McMahon says he wants to run Monday Night Raw. So this then prompts Vince McMahon to propose a match at WrestleMania, Shane McMahon against an opponent of Vince's choosing, and if Shane wins, then he will win control of Raw. And the opponent that Vince McMahon picks is The Undertaker. Now, like I said a minute ago, the fans seem to be into it, but how the hell did they come to this decision to put Shane McMahon in there with Undertaker? I'm sure, as crazy as Shane is, he looks a little older now, but still, you know, the guy's nuts and not afraid of anything, so I'm sure with this being in Hell in the Cell even, that there can be some really good spots in this, but did they really feel that there was nobody else on the roster that they could have put Undertaker in the ring with? This is the guy they chose, and now does this also mean that Undertaker is a heel? I mean, don't wrestlers usually have to turn themselves heel? They got Vince McMahon doing it for him? I mean, you got to know that's what it's going to be. Nobody wants Vince McMahon and Stephanie and Triple H in charge anymore. So if there's a match with Shane potentially running Raw on the line, you know they're going to be rooting for Shane McMahon. So now you put Undertaker in a heel situation, which I would be fine with if it turns out to be an actual heel Undertaker. Like, what if he comes back and reforms a version of the corporate ministry? Or what if he comes back and does something with the Wyatts? Somebody told me that they've been alluding to something in their promos. You know, Bray Wyatt rambles so often, I rarely pay attention. But apparently he has been alluding to something, and there might be some big surprise coming up in the future, and maybe Undertaker can become, you know, like the leader or the new boss of the Wyatt family, and instead of wrestling, he can take the role of fucking King Curtis in the Dungeon of Doom. Maybe if he was the one now out there sitting in the rocking chair with a hood over his face, watching the Wyatt family perform, maybe they could go in that direction. So if Undertaker came back for one more big run and one more big match maybe next year at WrestleMania 33 before he finally retires, I mean, shit, he's got to retire at some point. He wants to make sure that he can actually compete in his last match. He doesn't want to have his last match without knowing it. The fans deserve to have an Undertaker send-off. So I don't want him to get too old and too incapable of working, and then doctors say, hey, you can't ever get back in the ring again, and we never had the Undertaker send-off. So whatever they're going to do with the Undertaker's retirement, they need to wrap this shit up in the next year or two. That's just my opinion. But now, with this match with Shane McMahon, it's just kind of odd how they came to this. I mean, 10 days ago or a week ago, Shane McMahon wasn't even on any one of our radars, and all of a sudden now he's got a match with The Undertaker. That is a huge turn of events, and the speculation is now running wild as to what they're going to do. At least it leaves the outcome very much wide open at this point. We have no idea what they're going to do. Is Shane McMahon back for good? Is he going to be a regular on TV again from here on out, or is he just coming back for WrestleMania and then he's leaving again? It just depends. So, if Shane McMahon wins, that means he's going to be in charge of Raw and be on TV for the foreseeable future until they write him out. So I'm curious to know what Shane McMahon's deal with the WWE is, if he's coming back, if he's going to, maybe do both, work on his own projects and be in the WWE from time to time, or if this is just a temporary thing. I think it all depends on that, whatever the plans for Shane are, as to whether or not he's going to win this match or not. And would Shane McMahon, of all people, be one of the two people to defeat The Undertaker? That seems a little bit crazy as well, which brings me to another piece of speculation that's been going around. I was reading on Twitter after all of this happened, is that maybe there can be more elements added to this match. A lot of people think that Shane McMahon won't even end up working it. Maybe Shane McMahon is a placeholder, and if John Cena gets healthy in time, John Cena can take his place. You might add a special referee in there somewhere. Maybe The Rock can even get involved, although I think The Rock might be getting involved in the main event. But there's lots of other things I think you could probably do in this match to make it exciting and interesting. And then you have to wonder about The Undertaker's character, if we're even going to see him before WrestleMania. Maybe it's going to be the fans' speculation as to what kind of Undertaker we're going to see. Are we going to see a heel Undertaker? Last time we saw him, he was pretty much a babyface. So why in the world would he want to be fighting for Vince McMahon? I've got to hope that the WWE just didn't throw all this shit together on a whim and they actually have a plan here. Something has to make sense, because the setup of the match and the way they made it happen didn't make any sense at all. So if it ties together at the end, then I'm fine. But with all these questions, we have to wonder what the hell The Undertaker's motivation is going to be. Would he go out there and completely beat the shit out of Shane McMahon and then lay down and pull Shane over top of him to get the 3 count and allow Shane to take over Monday Night Raw? Does Undertaker indeed turn heel and align himself with Vince McMahon and helps him murder his own son? Does Shane McMahon go heel? Is it a big swerve and a big ruse by the McMahon family to end The Undertaker's career once and for all? And do we get a replacement opponent like John Cena or someone like that taking the place of Shane McMahon? I guess that there is a lot of questions still to be answered. I'm looking forward to the match. Who thinks that Shane McMahon is going to climb up the cables on top of that giant screen that's hanging over Jerry World and dive off, huh? If Shane McMahon does in fact compete in this match, I hope he doesn't kill himself. He's not 31 anymore, so he better be careful. But the match, I guess, is interesting. Kind of reminds me of the years 2000 and 2001, which I just got done talking about when I was working on my WrestleMania Memories video. I was just talking about those WrestleManias a couple of days ago and how the McMahons were so involved in both of them. And now it reminds me of this again. All we're missing is Linda. So let me know what you think. What sort of storyline directions or swerves could we see here in this match at WrestleMania? Definitely one of the most intriguing on the card and also the most baffling. But we'll see how it plays out on TV in the next few weeks. We'll see if it's mostly Vince and Shane doing the promo work leading up to the big match, or if we'll see Undertaker, or if we won't see him at all. At this point, I kind of think it's still all up in the air. Speaking of the WrestleMania card taking shape, another giant star on the WWE's roster now has an opponent for WrestleMania as well, and that's Brock Lesnar, who will be taking on Dean Ambrose. I was wondering if they would maybe go in this direction last night during Fastlane, but then I thought to myself, no, because Brock is just beating the bejesus out of Dean Ambrose. Every single time the two of these guys touched, I didn't think the match would maybe be believable, I guess. But before Raw even started, a few hours before, WWE released a video on their Facebook page showing Brock Lesnar attacking Dean Ambrose in the parking lot when Dean was arriving to the building. And as soon as that happened, I said, well, there's your WrestleMania match right there. That's it. It's definitely going to happen now. And on Raw, they set this up. Brock Lesnar comes out with Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman cuts a promo about how Brock Lesnar is pissed off that Dean Ambrose robbed him of his opportunity to take what's his, and that is the WWE title at WrestleMania. I guess they're blaming Dean Ambrose for doing what was perfectly within the rules of bringing chairs in the ring and all of that. So Brock is pretty pissed off at Dean, and that's why he attacked him and sent him to the hospital. And Paul Heyman says Brock Lesnar has an open slot at WrestleMania now, so he's issuing a fair warning to anybody in that locker room. If it turns out to be you, Brock Lesnar is going to absolutely destroy you. And then Dean Ambrose shows up driving the ambulance that he was most likely taken to the hospital in, and he drives it right into the arena, and they kept playing those sirens, and it was funny. I was thinking to myself, Jesus, tell me it's not going to be fucking Scott Steiner. Actually, that might be pretty cool. I would love to see Brock Lesnar murder that guy. But Dean Ambrose drives the ambulance back into the arena. He stumbles out of it. He can barely walk. He's crawling literally to the ring, lays on the outside of the ring, and Brock Lesnar just steps right on his face, which was great, and walks right over top of him. Brock actually showed some mercy. Disrespected the hell out of him, but still showed some mercy by not finishing the job. And as he's walking up the ramp, Dean Ambrose got a microphone somehow, I don't know where he found that, and says, Brock, I'm the one that wants you at WrestleMania. I want you in a street fight in a no-holds-barred match. I'm indestructible, I'm not scared of you, and I'm going to take you down and all this shit. And that's when Brock then comes back, picks up Dean Ambrose and F5s him right on the outside of the ring, and now we're set up for WrestleMania. Brock Lesnar versus Dean Ambrose, no-holds-barred. I like this match. I think a lot of other people do, too. I think this match can be a show stealer and be really exciting. This is what I've always wanted for Brock Lesnar. I've wanted him to face some new guys. I was so annoyed like a year or so ago when he kept wrestling the Big Show. I'm like, come on, Brock Lesnar's dates are so limited as it is. Please put him in there with guys that, you know, will be exciting to see. And so finally now he's starting to work with a few of these opponents. And I love the match he had a couple of years ago at SummerSlam with CM Punk. And I think this match can be a lot like that. And you know what else I say? I say have Dean Ambrose win. Hell yes. It's no holds barred. Why not? This is a victory that can really elevate him. He's fallen short in every WWE title opportunity. He could use a big victory. And since you could throw in a lot of surprises and a lot of other elements, you can probably have a way for Dean Ambrose to win this match and for it to not hurt Brock Lesnar too badly. Maybe there's some sort of a run-in. Imagine if the WWE, now I know this is not going to happen, so don't freak out, but imagine if the WWE could figure out a way, throw a ton of money for a one-time only appearance, a one-time only run-in, never to be seen again. CM Punk jumps the barricade wearing a hoodie and jeans and attacks Brock Lesnar and beats the shit out of him, allowing Dean Ambrose to get the win. Punk escapes through the crowd, and we never see or hear from him again. He doesn't tweet about it. He doesn't talk about it. He resumes his UFC training as if nothing happened at all and never comes back to the WWE again. I mean, how funny and how random would that be? You could have anybody run into this thing. I think you have to have someone interfere. I mean, I don't know how Dean Ambrose is going to credibly defeat Brock Lesnar in an anything goes match. But then again, he just might. I mean, part of Dean Ambrose's character is that he's nuts, completely crazy, and sometimes a little bit creative. So maybe he finds a way to creatively defeat Brock Lesnar. You know, Mick Foley once won the WWE title by pinning The Rock under a forklift. So there's no telling what Dean Ambrose can come up with in a match where there are no rules. So Dean Ambrose, I think my early prediction, as crazy as this sounds, is going to win at WrestleMania. I think he's going to defeat Brock Lesnar. It's about time something like that happened. It's about time one of these major stars is used to elevate a younger talent for the future. And Dean Ambrose, you know, is over shit with the audience, and I think if he performs well in this feud, in this program leading up to WrestleMania, WWE might just consider putting him over in this match. If not, you have Brock win. I'm fine with that too, because I love Brock, and, you know, I hope Brock Lesnar gets his ass back to the WWE title one day. And there's probably a pretty good chance that we'll see Dean and Brock wrestle again. Maybe they'll wrestle at the next pay-per-view. Maybe they'll wait and hold it off until SummerSlam, and these two guys can trade victories. So, you know, if Dean Ambrose is going to work with Brock Lesnar, and he's going to work with him multiple times, I would like him to win at least one of the matches, preferably the one at WrestleMania. If not, then find a way to put him over in the rematch. Just put him over at least once. The main event has been made official for WrestleMania as well. It will be Roman Reigns versus Triple H. The main event tonight on Raw was Roman Reigns versus Sheamus. And we kind of had a feeling we were going to get a Triple H and Roman Reigns confrontation. They had the stare down last night at Fastlane. Something else big has got to happen here. And in a really good final segment, I was barely paying attention to the match. I don't even think we got a finish, did we? Didn't Triple H just interrupt? His music hit, he comes down, ends up attacking Roman Reigns and beating the shit out of him and bloodying Roman Reigns' face. Now, I couldn't tell because I think I was turned away from the screen at the time and I haven't gone back to see the replay, but I don't know if this was hard way or if he just juiced. It looks like he got his nose busted open somehow. Tons of blood and tons of WWE referees with white gloves on their hands trying to tend to Roman Reigns. Triple H just picks him up and starts bashing him right in the face. It was brutal. And then as soon as you think he's done, he comes back and gives Roman Reigns a pedigree on the steel steps, and the fans fucking popped. That's pretty damn funny. I mean, Triple H, I thought he was going to get some heat for putting all that blood and that big of a hurting on Roman Reigns. I mean, that was vicious. But the fans were cheering for him. When he was standing on the steps, raising his hands, the crowd was going nuts for it. So WWE's got to realize what they have on their hands here. No matter what city they go in, Roman Reigns is going to be booed, and Triple H is going to be cheered, I guess. I mean, what else is he going to have to do? It reminds me of when The Rock faced Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania 18. Hulk Hogan, he did some horrible things to The Rock. He hit him in the back of the head with hammers. They almost killed him in the ambulance and the semi-truck. And yet Hogan goes into WrestleMania as the huge babyface. It was ridiculous. So it seems like we got the same type of thing on our hands here with Triple H and Roman Reigns. The fans are really, really, really rejecting Roman Reigns. And it's a shame because I like Roman. I really do. I wish WWE could use him in a way where the fans didn't do this to him because, you know, I do think he can be a big star in the WWE, and there has been times when he's really impressed me, but, you know, some of the booking and WWE's insistence on making him the man after he's already won the WWE title at Survivor Series, they took it off of him at Royal Rumble only for us to have to watch him win it again at WrestleMania, so that's when you got to think they got to do something in this main event. And I think we could see some other pieces being added to this match to complete the puzzle. I think we could see a special guest referee. What about Shawn Michaels? The Rock, don't forget, is supposed to be a big part of WrestleMania as well. You know he's going to have some sort of an influence on this match. And what if the referee does turn out to be Shawn Michaels and he tries to help Triple H win the match much like he did when he was the referee in the Hell in the Cell match with The Undertaker a few years ago? And what if the Rock gets in the ring and nails Shawn Michaels with a rock bottom? That is decades in the making right there. Remember 1999? Remember that like inaugural SmackDown when Shawn Michaels was the ref against The Rock and Triple H and he super kicked The Rock? Rock's been waiting forever to get his hands on Shawn Michaels for that. So that could be a nice little receipt many, many, many years later. And maybe with The Rock getting involved, that can help Roman Reigns defeat Triple H. But still, even with The Rock's involvement, I don't know if that's going to get Roman Reigns cheered. We saw that at the Royal Rumble a year ago when he won it. They got to add some stuff here. Maybe somebody's got to go heel. Maybe there's got to be a swerve. There's got to be a run-in. There's got to be a special referee. There absolutely must be something. Or instead of The Rock helping Roman Reigns, what if The Rock turns heel? That would be kind of cool. What if The Rock turns heel and costs Roman Reigns the match, Triple H retains, and Triple H and The Rock hug in the middle of the ring to close out WrestleMania? That would be pretty fucking crazy and would probably get a hell of a lot of cheers, too. If they go with a straight one-on-one match and a straight victory for Roman Reigns, no interference, no special referees, no heel turns, no swerves, no blood, no nothing, the fans are going to collectively take a shit on it. And that is going to be bad news for the WWE. So I like what we saw tonight with Triple H beating the hell out of Roman Reigns, but it's still not doing what the WWE wants to have happen, and that is the fans cheer one guy and boo the other. It's going in reverse. So even though the segments are great, the build is great, I even expect the match to be pretty good, the fans are not going to accept it unless you give them something that they're not expecting. That's just the reality of the wrestling business today that the WWE needs to understand, and for the past couple of years at WrestleMania, they have understood that. We need to hope that they understand that shit again this year. So throw scenarios at me. What do you think could happen in the WrestleMania main event? What would be acceptable for you? Because you cannot change the main event now. Doesn't do any good to whine and complain about it because the main event is happening. So if the main event must happen, what would you do? How would you book it that would make you happy? I'm genuinely interested in how you would want that to go down. I have some ideas of my own, and I'm sure I'll have a lot more as we lead into WrestleMania here. So with this main event taking place, whether we like it or not, you know, we have to think to ourselves what would make us happy. So that's what I want to know from all of you. As far as the rest of Raw, we saw a few other interesting things. AJ Styles and Chris Jericho had yet another segment. Jericho came out to the ring and admitted defeat and admitted that AJ is a legit star and is the better man, called him out there. They shook hands. They were interrupted then by the Social Outcasts, and that set up a tag team match with them against Jericho and AJ, and all the fans were screaming heel turn. This is great because this has all the feel of a Jericho heel turn, the way he's kind of respecting AJ, but at the same time letting him know that he doesn't like him, shaking his hand, setting up a tag team match. I mean, they are just putting all of this in front of you, and you're saying to yourself, okay, obviously Jericho is going to turn heel, right? But they don't do it. And you know what I like? I hope they don't ever do it. I hope they just troll everyone. Remember a couple years ago when Jericho returned and he didn't speak for the first couple of weeks? He just came out to the ring and got on the mic but never said anything, and the fans were waiting and waiting and waiting, and then he would walk off, and then as soon as you think he changed his mind and he was going to speak, he would walk off again. So I think they should do something fun like that. Constantly tease a Jericho heel turn, but never turn him heel. I think that would be fun. The one thing I hope that we don't have happen, however, is another Jericho versus AJ match. I enjoyed the little miniature feud. I enjoyed the 3-match series that they had, but I'm ready to see AJ work with other guys, and I hope he goes on to WrestleMania to face somebody like Kevin Owens. I don't think I want to get another Jericho-AJ match if Jericho does end up turning heel in the next few weeks. I like them working together a lot, but I really don't want to see it for a fourth time. So I would love for them to find a way to get AJ involved with another opponent, and I would love for him to get an Intercontinental title shot. If not, put him in there with someone good. Put him in there with Ziggler. Put him in there with Kalisto. Put him in there with Neville, someone like that. Just give us a good AJ Styles match at WrestleMania. That's all I want. Kane, Ryback, and Big Show were back together to take on the Wyatt family in another 6-man tag, and this time the Wyatt family came out on top because Ryback turned heel. Oh boy, he's a heel again. He walked out on his team, deserted his partners, and allowed the Wyatts to get the victory, was interviewed backstage, and he says it's not personal, he just needs to move on and be on his own. That's fine, Ryback, but you couldn't have waited till after the match to move on your own. You had to decide that right in the middle. So Ryback's a dick, and he's gone back to being an insignificant heel. I'm sure they'll push him for a couple of weeks, have him win a couple of matches. We'll probably even get a video package of some kind on the guy. But at the end of the day, he's still Ryback, and at the end of the day, nobody cares. Sasha defeated Naomi in a one-on-one match, and then I believe Naomi and Tamina started beating her down, and Becky came out to make the save. So the two girls are still on good terms, and then Charlotte comes out and cuts a promo in the aisleway. Pretty damn good one, too. She is quite the bitch, but goes on to say that only one of them can be the number one contender for the Divas title. And I guess she's going to be facing one of them at WrestleMania. So, now these girls, I guess, are going to have a friendly rivalry. I don't know how they're going to decide who's going to get the title shot. Obviously, you would think there would have to be a match between the two of them, or maybe a series of matches between the two of them, with the rubber match maybe being on the Go Home Raw. I would actually like to see them maybe main event a Raw leading up to WrestleMania. Why not? I think that would be fun. There's like 5 or 6 Raws before we get to WrestleMania. You can easily give those girls one of the main event slots, especially on a night that maybe some of your big stars are not going to be there. Maybe no Brock, no Rock, no Taker, no Shane. Certainly there's going to be 1 or 2 Raws like that in between now and WrestleMania, and to give those girls the main event match on a Raw to determine who goes to WrestleMania to wrestle for the Divas title, I think that would help the significance of the Divas title, and they should do it. As far as who I want to see, I guess Sasha. I mean, I like both of those girls, but Sasha, she is delicious, and a lot of fans really like her as well. She's respected, she's good in the ring. Charlotte has held that belt for a while. She probably should drop it at WrestleMania, and Sasha might be the best girl to take it from her. We also got the New Day winning over the Lucha Dragons and Neville. The Usos defeated the Ascension. The Dudley Boys cut a promo reiterating to the fans that we're never going to see the tables again. Okay, fine, Dudleys. If you're that passionate about it, then I can live without the tables. Whatever. And we finally got our second Hall of Fame inductee announced, and that's The Godfather. Now, I think the entire list of the Hall of Fame inductees was leaked somehow. I saw the list a few weeks back. I don't even remember who was on it, but I'm pretty sure The Godfather was. So I think this year the fans kind of know who's going to be getting inducted, but the WWE kind of needs to get on it. I thought they started announcing Hall of Fame inductees earlier than this usually in previous years, but I guess they're probably going to announce one on Raw and SmackDown maybe every week leading up to WrestleMania. So that's it for me for this week. The basic foundation for WrestleMania has now been laid. We can start brainstorming and getting a better idea of what the card is going to look like. I say, so far, so good. The Shane McMahon-Undertaker match, as odd as it still is intriguing, and so is the Dean Ambrose and Brock Lesnar no-holds-barred match. The main event, I still think they can do some things and throw in some surprises and add some elements to it to make it exciting and to make it not suck. And so far, I am still optimistic about WrestleMania, and tonight's good Raw was a good step in making this WrestleMania a memorable one. So leave me your thoughts and opinions on WrestleMania. Give me some ideas for the matches we know about so far, and give me some ideas for matches we don't know about. You will probably get one more video out of me before my WrestleMania Memories commentary. I'll be up here next week after Monday Night Raw for a review, and then just a couple of days after that, I will have the WrestleMania Memories video released. Right now, it's looking like it's going to be just under, get this, 6 hours long. Holy shit. So have a great rest of your week. I will catch you in a few days. Until next time, peace.